Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. So Russell, my colleague, one of the Proactis specialists and consultants, is going to be joining me today and covering off the majority of the session. Actually, I'm just going to introduce a few things, and I'm going to hand over to Russell. So today we're going to be talking about reporting and dashboards in Proactis and the capabilities that you have with reporting and dashboards, and how really that can help you in your business day to day. Whether you're an entry user, whether you're a budget holder or an AP user, it's got lots and lots of capabilities across the reporting and dashboard module. If you just click to the next slide for me, Russ, if that's all right.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. So obviously, advanced reporting and dashboards are part of the standard Proactis suite of modules. You have a license for them. We are encouraging our user base to adopt advanced reporting and dashboards. I think the majority of you will have them. As you're patching, as we're upgrading you, we are encouraging the use of these tools, not just because you're licensed for them, but because of their capabilities and because they help your business so much day to day. It's all well and good us, encouraging you to, use purchase orders and, roll up POs to the business and get your users on board. But we also need to give them the ability to view those transactions as they're going through the application. So whether they're due to be receipted or they're due to be approved, or look at who's approved them, or whether they've been paid, these modules give you that extra layer that your user base really do need. And they don't just sit, these modules don't just sit over the top of purchase ordering and invoicing. Obviously, the Proactis suite of modules is quite extensive. It's not just POs. You've got your marketplace, you've got your contract management, your sourcing elements, your SRM, and advanced reporting does sit over the top of those. It's important to understand that it's not just a P2P advanced reporting product. It can sit over the top of the whole Proactis suite of modules, as well as third-party products. It's important not to forget those. So where they are, based on queries, you can query potentially any database and bring the information in and combine it with your Proactis data. Okay. Something else I do obviously need to mention is Q&A. Some of you who do have Sun, obviously not all of our clients have Sun as a finance application, but those of you that do and use Q&A or have been using Q&A with Proactis, with the Proactis data link, that is no longer being developed by us. We have made a decision that we no longer are going to be developing that as Proactis is patched moving forward. So as the Proactis database structure changes, the Q&A data link, you may find that you do encounter issues with it. We've decided that because advanced reporting can give you the same capabilities and you're also licensed for it and it's within the inherent application, we've decided no longer to develop that Q&A link. So obviously, please do reach out to us if it's something you're concerned about. We are going to be sending a mailer out on this at some point very soon to let our clients know more about it, although we have been having conversations with you about it over the last months and obviously years for some people as well. But if there's anything you're concerned about, let us know. So in a minute, I'm going to hand over to Russell. So he's going to obviously show you advanced reporting. He's going to show you dashboards. We have developed reporting packs. So instead of you having to think about, what could we use in our business? We've got these already built and we can deploy them to your environment. But he's going to take you through all of that. If you've got any questions throughout the session, if you just pop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and then I can get to them, or we can address them at the end of the session. That'll be great. Thanks. So I'm just going to hand over to Russell, who is our specialist in this area.
Thank you, Christina, for the intro. Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about dashboards and advanced reporting. I've got quite a lot to cover in this seminar, so we'll move straight to the agenda and we'll crack on. So just what we're going to cover quickly is the prerequisites, which thankfully there aren't too many of, so that won't take long to get through. We'll discuss the benefits, and then I'm going to give you a dashboard overview. It's good to see so many people on this group, so some of you will have seen or will have dashboards, or will certainly have seen demos of dashboards before, but hopefully for some of you it's going to be new as well. Then I'm going to sort of take a bit of a risk here and try and give you a quick live dashboard demo, just showing you some of the functionality of dashboards and configurability around it. Then an overview of the advanced reporting module, and again I'm going to duck into the system and try and give you a quick demo of how you can create and how you can view reports using the new advanced reporting module. And then at the end, towards the end, we'll just talk about deployment options, and that will cover both Proactis and advanced reporting. Okay, so prerequisites, Proactis version 19 and above. That's quite, most people will be on a much more recent version of Proactis than that now. So for both advanced reporting and for dashboards, hopefully most of you already meet these sort of minimum requirements. If you don't, then we'd probably need to patch you up first. Now, assuming you do meet those requirements, both are already existing and available functionalities. So apart from a little bit of installation work and configuration, you've actually got that functionality already there. So it's not a case of having to bring anything new in. And furthermore, there's no additional license implications. So your license will already cover you for dashboard usage. It will already cover you for advanced reporting. So let's just begin with dashboards. What are the key benefits here? So dashboards, they're accessible from within the application. So just from within your main menu options, you'll see a link to dashboards. You don't have to go anywhere else for them. It allows us to publish virtually any form of summary or detailed information, different types of information targeted at different users. They can be personalized. So what we mean by that is delivering instant information to the users, but information that is relevant or even purely specific to that user. So it knows who the logged on user is. It can deliver information targeted specifically for that user, hopefully very useful information. Profiles will provide users with the correct level of information appropriate to their role. So kind of from points I've made earlier, you can have kind of global type reports, but if you want to restrict that to information that's applicable, even for security and for security reasons, just applicable to that user, you can tailor that information so it's the right level. They're not getting too much information, they're not getting too little information. Data-driven graphical presentation, providing reports in appropriate format, so we can display them in multiple options. We say they're pie charts, line charts. You've got all sorts of different options there, bar graphs, radial gauges, or just simple table style reports as well. As we'll see later on, you have drill down capability within dashboards. So that could be a drill down to a sub report, which could be another dashboard, and so on. And you can drill all the way down to lists and ultimately to the document that's driving the data behind the dashboard or KPI. Now we can source, well, we do source our data directly from Proactis, but we can bring it in from other databases as well. So if you have something like ETL or ICAT, we can bring the information from there. In fact, we're going to show you an ICAT dashboard later on. And beyond that, we can either sort of draw down information from your finance system or any other third-party system, as long as it's a third-party database, as long as it's accessible. And then final point, there's configurability options within dashboards. We will deploy them, but we will leave as much configurability available to you as the users, so that you can tailor them, modify them, maybe even copy and make your own dashboards based on the ones that we've provided. Okay. And then advanced dashboards. What are the key benefits of advanced dashboards? Again, they're accessible from within the application. Should just say that's P2P, or if you have it sourced to contracts as well, you can get advanced reporting through there too. Like dashboards, we have the capability to report over multiple data sources. Initially, it will be pointing to your Proactis reporting database, but from there we can create links to other databases, be them other Proactis related or other third-party databases as well. Information can be presented in multiple ways, so we can have reports that generate lists that are suitable for Excel export, or we can do kind of summarized data. And there's even options within dashboards to present through graphics and other types of charts. Report security can be applied to ensure that the correct information is delivered to the correct user. So, for example, we can take a report, but we can apply cost center security on it before we publish it to a certain user, for example. So they will see that report, but it will already be filtered to the cost center that they have permission to view. It could be cost center or cost centers. So various different options we can deploy there to ensure that users are seeing information that is relevant to them and not only the information they should be seeing. It comes with an intuitive report wizard to create new reports. So anyone familiar with the old reporting tool may understand the difficulty when you were trying to generate those reports, or trying to fix the rows and columns in. So this kind of does it for you. It does most of the work for you. I'll try and show you that later on when we demo it. Another key feature is the ability to schedule reports for email delivery. So once you've got your report, you've then got a scheduler, and this can be self-service or it can be administrator controlled, so that you can put reports into a schedule. You can prefix some of the parameters on those reports before you then send them out to a target audience, an individual or target audience. And those reports, they can be one-off, they can be scheduled weekly, monthly, etc. And then existing reports can be easily copied and modified to create reports. Once you've got reports, once you've built a report, it's generally fairly easy to take that report and adapt it and create a new report based on the existing reports. And then you have report libraries, and these just make it easier to categorize reports, but also to apply security on the reports as well. It gives you another tool for applying security. Okay, so back to dashboards. So what do dashboards provide? Okay, so this is an example of a single dashboard widget, if you like. It's high-level graphical representation of data. So example here would just be spend by analysis code. Second example popped up, invoice summarized by status. Or third example, recent orders within my cost center. We can bring targeted data to users. So this is a commitment report specific to an individual user's order history. So this is the user's personalized commitment report. Something without these type of reports are normally generated by management accounts and sent out to the business. This gives the user an opportunity to actually visually see what they've got in terms of outstanding commitments and accruals, and hopefully to better manage it. And as we'll see later on, you've got drill down functionality within that as well. This one targeted an AP user, gives them a graphic of all their invoices in progress by various open statuses. So they may process hundreds of invoices a week. It's difficult to manage and see exactly what's happened to all those invoices, but this gives you a summary of the journey that all those invoices are currently going through. My orders authorized, again, if you're an authorizer, it's just a useful one, just for keeping a tab on what you've been authorizing of late. In this case, an example, last 6 months, that authorizer can now see how much, in terms of value, they've authorized with Dell, for example. And what we tend to do is we put these individual dashboard modules into a dashboard page, and they'll then be grouped by a common theme. So the example here is a budget holder, where you're seeing spend analysis reports. Top left there, you can see by cost center. Yeah, the top right is spend by account. Bottom left, spend by budget, and then they've got a commitment report that covers all the cost centers that they're responsible for. Similarly, we have an accounts payable manager page. It includes various KPIs like an invoice exception rates, which is monitoring the success or the first time success of invoices going through the system, and other graphics on there. I won't go through them all, but you can see the status of all the invoices currently in process. And at the bottom middle there, you've kind of got an account rolling reports giving account of the volume of invoices per month over various different years. And then we have module-specific dashboard pages. So this is an example of the ICAC module. It's got various KPIs. It's got kind of tube type reports in the middle here showing the volume of onboarded suppliers. out of your entire supplier base, and to keep a tab on things like the ICAT credit report, how near to using the current allocation of credits you are. And what we then do with the pages, we'll then group them to form portfolios. So portfolios will be linked to different types of roles. So someone in accounts payable will see a different portfolio to someone who's a management accountant, or someone who's just on the system to raise orders or expense claims. So for example, an accounts payable portfolio, we'll see these various different pages. So they'll have a main accounts payable page, but they'll also see export management, documents pending approval, and if they have it, for example, the ICAT management page as well. And just some other examples: finance business partner, where they're seeing spend analysis by account, project, cost center, etc. Order originators, to track their own order history. You've got a summary of all their orders in process. My personalized commitment summary that I talked about earlier, and then things like compliance, which is trying to measure retrospective versus compliant purchase ordering, and that's like a rolling report. KPIs designated to that user, hopefully to help them improve their own compliancy and performance on the system. And just on the right there, just listing, I'm not going to show you them all, but just listing other portfolios we create as standard. So procurement, expense users if you are using the expense claim module, ditto with sales invoices, and then we have one for authorised and budget holders and administrators. Just to go through a little bit of additional functionality here, so I'm just looking at a single dashboard module. The top right, as we'll come up here, you've got an information icon. So this is customizable. It just allows you to give some detail when they click on that of what this dashboard is actually presenting. You've then got the hover tips. So these are like pop-up informations about the value. So when you hover the mouse over there, it will pop up with this box showing you more specific information about the detail that goes behind that particular, in this case, this one of the bars of the graphics. You'll also see here at the bottom, you've got click down to see all commitments for this cost center. So that's an example of your drill down functionality. And when you click on that, it will open up whatever the drill down report is. In this case, we've gone from commitments by cost center. So we're now looking at commitments by accounts code for that cost center. So we've taken it to another dimension effectively. And then within here, you'd have further drill down. From one of those bars, it will take you to, for the cost center 100 account code 2001. It then shows you the individual purchase orders that have contributed to that line of the graphic. And then from these little icons here, you then get additional drill down where you see that it can take you to the document in question. So in this case, it's a purchase order. It could equally be an invoice, expense claim, requisition, sales invoice, etc. Okay. What we can also do is we can add modules to the main screens of the page as well. So your dashboard suite will sit in a separate section under analysis, but we can also put individual reports, individual dashboard modules on some of the main menu pages. So if you're an AP user, you've gone to the invoice tab, you can have, for example, my invoices in progress as a graphic on your main invoicing menu page. And it has the same functionality, same drill down functionality as it would do as if you were accessing through the dashboard pages. Just another example on the order screen or on the expense claim screen. Okay, so I'm going to just jump onto our demo system and just show you some of this live. Okay, and I'm just going to log in as an AP user. So it can be your landing page, the dashboard, as is set up for this particular user. For those of you sort of familiar with Proactis, you may not be familiar with this new screen layout. This comes with, I think, version 25.1, I think it is. It's where they've moved the menu options to the left-hand side, so they've just changed the screen layout somewhat. So this is my landing page, and this is the example of a full dashboard suite given to this particular user. This is called the AP Managers page. So you've got here main landing page, all invoices in progress. They've got their own personalized view as well, so they can view their own invoices in progress. Just to demonstrate the drill down functionality, I've got orders here awaiting discrepancy resolution. I just want to see what those two orders or invoices rather are. So I can click into there and I've then got full drill down to the document. And documents pending approval, just another example of a page. Export management, I don't think there's anything in there at the moment, but it would just show you any invoices that fail to integrate, or indeed expense claims or commitments fail to integrate, a bit like you can see in the management console, but this is within the main application. And if you're an ICAT user, you've also got the ICAT dashboard page as well, the option for the ICAT dashboard page. And this is showing you things like the KPI of success of invoices being imported over time. What else have we got? Different types of errors coming through, a track of what we call ICAT rule set requests, and one or two other graphics I showed you from the slides earlier. Okay, and what I'm just going to do, I'm going to log out as this user and quickly show you from the perspective of an administrative dashboard user, in this case sysadmin. And I just want to show you a little bit about the configurability that you can have if you have the role to administer dashboards. So I'm going to go into the maintain dashboard modules and go to finance analysis reports. So I've got a report here, spend by account. So I'm in the area where I can actually design this dashboard. And if I go to the display, it shows me what we've currently got here. It's displaying expenditure by account code. So we've now increased the number of parameters to make it easier for you to either change this report or maybe take this report and copy it and develop a new report from this. So for example, we have a configuration value here, analysis code. And when you're creating invoices, orders and systems, you have your coding structure. And this number simply relates to the sequence of codes that you enter on the order, and by changing that you can change the analysis code that you're going to report from. So if I change that from 3 to 4, I'll just change it back to 3. So at the moment we've got spend by account. Just simply by changing that, I can turn it into spend by project code straight away. It's now bringing through expenditure based on a different analysis code. And then other things, I've got a ZZ here. This is not an analyze. So we put in additional parameters that you can exclude codes that you don't want to see in reports. So in this case, I'll use one of these parameters to eliminate ZZ. And there you can see the reports no longer shows not analyzed. It's only showing real data associated with real project codes. I'll then flick it back to spend by account. You may also think, okay, I've got it's showing 5 lines of data. There may be too many lines of data, so you can have a row count in there. So if I wanted to show the top 3, I can change that configuration value there, and now it will return just the top 3 lines of data. So if you've got a report that's showing 25 lines of data, that might be a bit crowded on the screen. So we're passing that configurability back to you so that you can change and modify that yourself. Okay. And as I said, you can use this to change existing reports, or you can copy a report, make parameter changes, and create a brand new report from that. Just one other, I'll show you days back. So we have you can how many days do you want the report to extract data from? 9999 is a special code that means financial year to date, but you can change that to a specific number. 125 days, approximately 4 months, for example, and that will adjust the data accordingly. Now, when you're happy with those configuration changes using the display here, you then change them in the runtime value, and that will be saved to the report that the end users will see. Okay, so I'm going to flip back to my slides again, and we'll move on to an overview of advanced reporting. So what does advanced reporting provide? So it's a detailed or summarized extraction of data. In these examples, we're looking at sort of Excel-friendly extractions of data. It's very much column and list derived data. other examples here, expenses by user, or just open invoice discrepancies. How do we access advanced reports? So for those of you familiar with the new screens, it exists in the same little part of the menu as you see the dashboards, and maybe if you have them, your existing reports. For those, and probably most of you more familiar with the current screen setup, that's where you would find them. From the Analysis tab, you see the Advanced Reports option under there. The Reports menu. So the first menu I'm going to show you is an administrator menu. So this is someone who may be creating reports, but is also managing the reports for the organisation. So you've got a full range of options there, where you can create new reports, you can create data models. I'll explain what those are shortly. And you can create and manage report libraries for other users. In addition to that, here you would still have your own existing report library as well, so reports specific to you that you run on a day-to-day basis. And other options there, system settings, and the option to import and export reports as well. A more standard view would be the end user report, where they basically just see their own report library, and if we've given them permissions to manage their own schedules, an option there to go into report schedules. And when you go into the reports, this is what your report library looks like. So each of these blue bars represents one of your report libraries, and these expansion contraction buttons here allow you to show the individual reports contained within each library. Now on the right hand side, just giving a bit of detail what the standard pack includes. So you'll get administrative reports, AP reports, order-based reports, spend analysis reports, and if you're using the modules, expense reports and sales invoice reports. And as I've mentioned earlier, we can apply user security to these libraries. So different roles wouldn't necessarily see the full range of libraries that you're seeing currently on this page. So when you're running reports, parameters. So most reports will include dynamic parameters. And what this means is it will open up, it will allow you to select parameters based on the information that's provided in the set of data. So rather than sort of having to put wildcard searches or just hope that you spelt your supplier right, you can pick it from a pre-select list. And as you see, it can be single selection, or we can have multiple selection here as well. So in this second shot here, we've got multi-period selection. It's really easy to use. If you want to just report on everything for 2024, you don't sit there ticking every box for every month of 2024. You just type in 2024 and then select, click on the selector, and it will automatically fill out all those other boxes for you. And then just another example here, you've got posted, but what with well-constructed parameters, what it does give you the ability to do is take one report, but using that same report to provide lots of different, effectively different types of report from the same report. So here I'll be looking at posted, effectively paid invoices with Amazon over a period, but I could select a different criteria for my invoice status, for example, if I'm actually interested in gathering information about everything that's awaiting authorization or awaiting discrepancy resolution. So one report, you create it with good parameters, it can solve multiple purposes. When you run the reports, they will initially appear on screen, but you've then got the option to export them to Excel, or indeed other document types, PDF, should you wish to do that. I imagine most commonly it will be Excel, and obviously from Excel you've got you can do all the normal things from Excel that you might do to any normal type of Excel reports. Now reports in the advanced reporting module, when you're creating a report, is driven by what's known as data models. And data models are sort of constructs of SQL queries, but for those of you that aren't necessarily familiar with report writing or writing SQL queries, it's got this intuitive query builder. And what you get an extensive list of the reporting tables to select from. In some cases, you may want to report from more than 2 tables, so you just drag the tables in from the left-hand side. As long as they've got a common field, you can join 2 tables, So here I've got order ID, and I'm going to get the header information of the orders, but I want to pull through the items as well. And what it does, when you then use these tick boxes to select the items you want, and it builds the actual query for you. You can just about see the start of that query being developed down the bottom of the screen there. You can refresh and it will validate whether everything you've put in there is correct. And then from there you can save a query, and from that query you can then build a report, or you can actually build a query and just export that directly to Excel without having to go through the process of then creating and publishing a report. So if it's a one-off, this can be a really useful tool. Then you've got the report building wizard. So you've built a query, you now want to build a report. So you select your query and then just bring in the columns you want. So if my query is a broad invoice related query, I don't want every single field from that query to actually show on my report. You just tick the fields you want, run through the report wizard. It will ask you if you want to group any of your data. So I may want to run an expenditure report on invoices based on the invoice. So I'm going to use the column header, invoice supplier title. I may want to add functions to those reports. So insert a sum column at the bottom of my net value, gross value, or any other type of function for that matter. And then when you complete the wizard, it arranges the column headers and the data into this kind of neat format for you, along with other things like the groupings if you've selected them, your totalization. It will even put a report title and a publishing date and time on there for you as well. And of course, you can then further develop this report using the vast array of configuration display options pointed to sort of here on the left and on the right of the screen. And then you have the report scheduler, and I'll try and show that in the live demonstration of reports as well. So you can take a report, you can drag and drop it into these fields, and you'll then get additional functionality where you can decide how often you want it to be issued. Do you want it to be a repeat report? What parameters you want to apply to this report, or for this scheduled report at least, and of course who you want to send the report to. There's an example of setting the frequency. These three tabs. You then have the parameters. Where applicable, you can set the parameters. So you can take one report, apply parameters to send to one user, take the same report, put it in the scheduler, change the parameters to send it to a different user. So they're getting the same report, but with information that's specifically targeted to them. And then the output, so you can define the output type. So in this case, it's going to send an Excel document and it's going to email it to whoever you put in that email to at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to switch to the live system again and try and give you a quick demo of advanced reports. So I'm going to log out from here. Okay, from my analysis tab, just simply click on advanced reports. It will open it up in a new tab. It will take a few seconds to open the first time. Okay, so I'm looking at the advanced reports from the perspective of an end user. So I'm not seeing the full functionality, just report library and my schedules. So if I go into the report library, you've got this most recent tab at the top here, but you've then got the report pack. So if you took on our report pack, you'd typically see these libraries within that. So if I want to run a report, I can then just expand on the administrative reports or AP reports, whichever one I want to go into. Select a report. I'm going to do invoice by status, and then just click the play button. So this report requires parameters. So I'll just give you an example of what I meant earlier. If I wanted to report on everything for 2024, for example, I could just type that in there. It narrows it down and just select all. And then my invoice status, again, it's a dynamic parameter, so it identifies all the available statuses. In this case, I want to report on posted invoices only. And when I've done that, I can submit my report. And there it brings it up on screen. Now, if I just hide this away and expand it a little bit, just hopefully everyone can see that, neatly arranged into rows and columns. And from here, if I need to, I've then got the option to export to Excel. Open my file, and there it is in Excel. Okay, so I can take that report away, do whatever I want to do with it in Excel. Okay, so let's close that for the moment. And I'm just going to try and give you a run through now of how relatively straightforward it is to create reports. So I'm going to come out of here, and I'm going to have to log in as a different user. So I'm going to go in as a report administrator. In this case, sysadmin. Of course, it doesn't have to be sysadmin, it's whoever you give the roles to. And when I click on advanced reports, opened a lot quicker this time. You see the full range of options on the within the advanced reports module. So I've got my own reports library, but I've also got these options to create reporting data models, create new reports, and I can also manage report libraries, groups, and system settings, import Excel, import, export, etc. So what I just want to try and quickly show you is a reporting data model and how the sort of intuitive data model structure should help people create reports, even if they're not that familiar with report building through SQL, for example. So I'm going to create a new reporting data model. Just use that. So I just need to give it a name and description. So select connection. So I've got a single connection here to my reporting database. You may potentially see more than one connection. This is just referring back to what I was saying, that you can report over multiple different databases, but the default will normally be your reporting database. That will be the starting point. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't select it, did I? There we go. So then go into queries. So I'm going to add a query to my report, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it what I called it, the data model, and I'm going to edit the query. So just show you how you can create a report without the SQL knowledge. You've got on here a list of all the reporting tables. So these tables are already constructed in such a way to help users build reports. These tables are designed with reports in mind. So if I'm looking for something on orders, I'll start here, orders, and I can just simply drag that in, expand that a little. It shows me all the columns available within that table. Okay, so I can either click through here and select which ones I want, or I can just tick this box at the top here, and that will select all. If I wanted to link that to another table, I can drag the order items across here. And to create the link, all I've got to do is just find the common field. In this case, order ID and order ID, and I'll just simply drag that to there on top of that, and it should create the link. Oh no, it's the wrong order ID, that's why. Oh no, it has created it, sorry. Right, so that's created that link, and you can see by that blue line there. Okay. For simplicity, I'm going to remove the join because I don't want it to return too much data for the purpose of this demo. So I'm going to select everything, and I may just want to apply my own little filter to this report, especially if you've got a database that you've been running for years. You don't want to just pull through every single order on the system. So, for example, I might want to only look at orders based on the current year, for example. So what I can do is I can create a criteria here, and I can type in, if I type in dates, or just order dates there, order date, sort type, what would we want? Ascending, I think, and then the criteria, I just put a simple query in, or simple bit of criteria here, which is going to be greater than, and I'm going to just put a date in speech marks, 01, 01, 25, 2025. When I tab out of that, it actually updates the script down here. Okay. So when I refresh, or show SQL rather, if it was invalid, it wouldn't return anything. In this case, when I refresh and execute, it gives me an on-screen return of the results based on what I put in there. Okay. Now, so you're looking at this and you're thinking, what are all these fields? Well, these are unique references and they're used for joining tables. So you might want to go back to your query and then have a think about what you don't really want in that report. However, if you were just using this as a data model to build a main report from, you might want to keep all this information in because you're not using this as the actual final product. This is just to help you build a report. However, this query module is quite useful because you can just take your results from here and download to Excel as well. So you don't actually need to go through the whole process of creating the full report. If it's just a one-off query, you don't want to make it available as a big report and publish it to users. This is just for your own benefit. So you can get your results, go back to your query builder here. If I deselect that, I can then just add the columns that I want: department code, order ID, originator, template, order number, etc. I refresh, execute again, and I can then just export that to Excel. And there you have it. So that's a quick way of creating a query from the system without having to go through the whole process of generating a report. However, if you do want to create a report from it, I'm going to come out of this one and go back to the main menu. I'm not going to save this one. I've got a pre-prepared one I'm going to use. So from my home tab, I want to actually create a report that I can publish. So what I would do, I'm going to create reports, and these are a list of my existing reports. So if I want to edit any of my existing reports, I go into these tabs here. But to create a new one, I select create, and it brings up a list of saved data models. So data models, what we just created, and they can be used time and time again to create different reports. I'm going to use this one at the end here to create my report. So I just select that and next. And I'm now going to show you the report wizard. So we start with this kind of blank report build page. It all looks horribly confusing and complicated at first, but fortunately it's got this report wizard that's going to do most of the work for you. So designing report wizard, we call it a data bound report. That's the one you want to select if ultimately you want the report to look good for Excel exports. The data source prefixed to the one that I selected earlier, and then selected data members. So when I select that, it's then going to bring up a list of all the fields available in the data model. So if I've done a really broad data model, it might have all those IDs and bits and pieces that I wouldn't necessarily want to show in a final report. So I'm just going to select the fields I want. So we'll have the display number, the version number, the order dates, the supplier title, total net value, total gross value if it's under here, for example. So they're the fields that I want in my report. I select next. I then get an option to group my report. If it's purely data, I probably don't want to group it. But if the circumstances where you do want to group it so that it will show a subtotal at the bottom of every different change in the supplier title, I can add my supplier in there. And then on the next page, I get the opportunity to add, if I want to, sums functions against columns. So let's say, for example, total gross and total net value, and I want to put in a sum at the end of those columns. Click on next. I can change its various formats. I'm going to change it to landscape because I always feel that works better with Excel. Next screen, you can select a color scheme for it. Specify reports title, so orders by division, whatever that was, whatever you want your title to be. And then when I finish, it's going to put all those rows and columns, totals, etc., into a neat format. So when I then actually preview that report using this option here, you've got your rows and columns, etc., already laid out. Now I'll look at that and think I want to change those date formats. So I want to change the currency from dollars to sterling, for example. So you can do further modification in here. And all these options are available through the right hand side. There's an awful lot to go through here, and that's a separate course in itself. But in terms of actually getting the initial information onto screen in a neat and tidy, orderly fashion, that report wizard will really help you along the way there. Okay. And then what you do, excuse me, what you do, just to finish the process, you give the report a name and description. This is for the benefit of the library. Orders by division. And that into our description. And save the report. Okay. And that's then ready to be published. So obviously there's additional things I can do in that report, put in parameters that are then selectable by the users when they run that report. So let's say things like cost center or supplier title or date range, bits and pieces like that. Now that report is ready for publishing. So if I go to my home menu, I can then go into my report library admin. And if I wanted to add it to my, for example, report pack, I just edit that, go to items and create a new library item, search for my reports, which I think I called orders by departments, orders by division, sorry. And then give it another title here for the report library name. And that's now published. If I had parameters, I can preset some parameters. I didn't select it on this one, but that's now ready for publishing. And you can then assign it to different libraries and different users. Okay, scheduler. Very quickly, I was just going to show you the scheduler. So if I come out of this on the home page, so I'm logged as an administrator here, and I can manage other people's schedules. I can go to this report scheduler here. Brings up this nice little friendly screen calendar, and I want to take a report and I want to schedule it to be sent to a specific user on specific days. So to say, for example, this active standing reports, I want to send out on Fridays. So I drag it onto the screen. Frequency. So I want to make this a weekly report. So send on Fridays. If there's any parameters I want to specify, I can set them here. So this report has got a single parameter just for the company. If you're a multi-company setup, I go to the output and I'm going to send it to our user, maybe a second user. I can just separate with a semicolon, as you do normally when you're putting in email addresses in your CC columns. So if this was, say, for example, a cost center report, I want them to see the report based on cost center A123. I would set that in my parameters. I can then do exactly the same again, but this time change the parameters to cost centers DEF for a different target audience. And then when I save that report, you see there on my schedule, it now shows that report in there, set for every Friday to be sent out. You can double click back into them. You can change the schedules as well if necessary. So that's the scheduler. I'm going to come out of the demo now and just go back onto the presentation. So we're on the last leg now. Who benefits from these? So whether we're talking dashboards or advanced reporting, end users get their personal commitments, look at their compliance KPIs, they can track their open orders, and they can of course get the targeted reports through the advanced reporting module. Accounts payable, as we've seen, so trackable invoices by status, view ICAP details, discrepancies, etc. Global type reports, which can be a benefit to management accounts, enable them to get expenditure and then break it down by whatever analysis codes they want to slice and dice their reports by. Authorizers and budget holders, again, looking at compliance within their areas with the added security features we've got on reports. We can tailor that to only provide data specific to the authorizer or budget holder. Procurement, in terms of spend analysis or supplier analysis rather, maybe interested in compliance. And of course, we can tap into the SRM reporting tool as well. And administrators, you get things like license visibility, export management issues, etc. Also, just track the users as well, who's not using the system. Can we release user licenses because they haven't logged in for 12 months? Things like that. So implementation options. So we have the dashboard standard pack, which is the suite of reports as showing earlier. But if you're an existing dashboard user, you've already had our standard pack, we can look at doing a dashboard upgrade. So that will include any enhanced configurability around dashboards, an opportunity to discuss new dashboards, tweak existing dashboards, and create new customized dashboards and pages for you. The standard pack itself contains over 50 individual modules with 15 different dashboard pages and 10 pre-configured portfolios. And how does that implementation work for the standard dashboard pack? We'll do initial scoping. So you're not going to want every single module, I wouldn't imagine. You're not going to want every single page because some of them may be configured to parts of the system you're not currently using. So once we've done the scoping, we do the deployment of the dashboard pack for you in a test environment normally, so that you can see data coming through with, so you can see the dashboards with your real data. And we then apply configuration to meet your specific needs. So make sure it's tailored to your analysis dimensions and your user group base. You will then have a period to review the dashboards and to test the dashboards, test the integrity of the data. And from there, you can make recommendations for any changes and, of course, any reasonable modifications to those dashboards. And then once we're happy with that, we'll do the deployment to live for you. And as part of that deployment to live, we normally then include a handover. So this is be training with regards to how to reconfigure them yourselves, how to manage the portfolios, the pages, individual modules, etc. And then the dashboard upgrade, this being improvements to existing reports. As mentioned earlier, additional drill down functionality where available, added parameters to give you greater control, added security. So we've got like a security add-in now. So most reports can be global, they can be user specific by adding this sort of security lookup that we have within the system that we can apply to all your dashboards. We're happy to offer additional further training for configuration and an opportunity for new modules. So if you're an existing user, your dashboards are hopefully bedded in, but you now know what's useful, what's not useful, what would be useful. You have a better idea of what types of modules you may want and how you want to break down your pages and portfolios to users. And coming back to advanced reporting, so implementations there. So advanced reporting, we'll do the initial installation of the advanced reporting module. You already have the license for it, you already have the software, but it just needs to be actually installed and connect to your main website. As part of that implementation, we will then do initial setups. This will be a super user, creating a super user for the management of advanced reporting and the necessary admin user or admin users. We then deploy the advanced report standard pack, and as a reminder on the left-hand side, just to show you what the standard pack includes, administrative reports, accounts payable, order reports, etc. on the left-hand side there, and you only take the library groups that are applicable to you, of course. We then look at extended customizations within that. So, one size isn't going to fit all, even with our standard pack. So just look, what can we tweak just to make more relevant to yourselves? How can we make that a best fit? We will then offer training. So this will be both two types of training, one in terms of administering reports, and then if required, we can also help with, we can help by delivering training on how to actually write new reports. And then what we can do also is conversion of existing reports. So if you've got existing reports that you want to bring into the advanced reporting module, if you give us access to the coding behind those reports, we should be able to develop those and make them available as part of your reporting, advanced reporting suite. So they may be reports on the old Proactis reporting system, for example, that you want to bring across and make available in the new world. So I hope you found this interesting and informative. And the next steps, really, if you want to proceed with this, the first instance, please do consult with your TSM account manager, and we can discuss the options with you in greater detail and look at the commercial side. Please do look out for further online webinars, reporting, dashboards, or anything else Proactis related. Or if you want a personalized demo, one of us will be happy to do that, whether it's reporting, advanced reporting, or any other aspects of Proactis. So really, any questions? I haven't kept an eye on that tab, so I don't know if any questions have popped in.
Yeah, we have had a
while
few
I've been
questions, Russ.
presenting.
I've
Okay.
been fielding them off, so I think we're okay. That was really, really good, really, really detailed. Thank you so much. I hope that's given you a good idea of what we can help you with in relation to advanced reporting and dashboards. I did also pop in the chat. So obviously you can get a copy of this webinar and the slides to go with it. The webinars are available on our website. So if you browse to our, oh gosh, I never remember what it is off by heart, the TSM Consulting website, and just go into About Us, you'll have a copy of all the previous webinars that have been run. You can rewatch them, as well as the ones that are upcoming. So we've got invoice automation, invoice capture, we've got supplier management, and we're going to be putting in a couple of extra as well as we go along, some ad hoc ones. And we've also got, if there's any questions that you can think of that you obviously didn't want to pop on the chat, just drop us a note. And I'm also going to be available tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning for the drop-in sessions that I'm running every Friday. For anyone, if you've got any questions or just want to come and just join and listen in to what other people may have a question about. But yeah, just on the advanced reporting and the dashboards, obviously, we've put lots of effort into amalgamate all the requests we've had previously from our client base in relation to what they've tried to get out of the system. So we've developed a pack for you. So if you're not quite sure where to start, obviously we can help you with that and just deploy the pack, or we can tailor it and just give you the elements that you need as an organization. So we can provide you with the PDFs of what's included in the packs, and you can pretty much choose what you'd like. And yeah, please contact obviously your account manager and they can provide you with quotations for that.
Right. I was just looking through the questions. It looks like most of them have been, well, it looks like they've all been answered as I was talking away, which is good. So I haven't got anything to add there to the answers that have been given to the questions. So
that's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, all. And yep, hope to hear again from you soon.